Do you ever feel like you're building an ark with only the instructions for a canoe? If so, you're not alone. Welcome to CEO-ish, where we'll discuss traveling the path of the unknown while making it your own. I'm Jill Donovan, CEO of Rustic Cuff, and with me today is my very, very favorite co-host, Kelly Smith. Hi, Kelly.
Hi.
Kelly,
Yes?
well, just for everybody listening and watching, will you tell them what you do here at Rustic Cuff?
I make jewelry, which is a very fun job to have.
Like, really, like, legit make it?
I am legitimately spending all of my days making jewelry.
And you manage people as well, correct?
Yeah.
How many people do you manage?
Let's see. I manage 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-ish.
And their children that come to work with them as well.
Yes. Right.
Okay. So, Kelly, today is Feedback Friday, which I'm super excited about. Do you
good.
know what Feedback Friday is?
No, but tell.
Okay. Feedback Friday is where we get feedback from the listeners and then we give them feedback on the feedback that they gave us.
Ooh, a lot of feedback going on.
A whole lot of feedback, but it's otherwise known as just like ask us a question and we'll answer
Right,
it.
yeah.
Okay. So today's question
Okay.
comes, and we've received 212 questions so far.
Dang. We're popular.
That's a lot. They're all from our employees.
Okay.
But no, we have received 212 questions so far, and it's really fun to go through these and answer them. So today's question is from Allison Fitzgerald from Athens, Georgia, and Allison wrote and asked, "I know that you encourage people to follow their dreams, but do you ever remember your dreams when you wake up in the morning? And if so, when was the last time any of your dreams came true?"
Ooh, that's a good question.
That is a good question. Do you want me to answer it?
Yeah, you go.
First? Okay. So, Allison, that's a great question. And it's so timely because just yesterday I woke up and I have already told you this, Kelly, so you can verify that I'm not making this up. I woke up yesterday morning and I had a dream the night before that our fish, Ocean is his name, our fish was dead and he was living inside of his fishbowl, but it was completely cloudy. You could not see through the fishbowl at all. It was like just dirt piled all the way up in there, and then Ocean was not alive. Right. And we've had Ocean for a long time. How long do fish live?
Not long.
Like a couple years?
No.
More?
Really?
Years and years?
Every time I have a fish, it dies quickly.
Michelle had one that lived for 15 years.
A goldfish?
Michelle's goldfish lived for 15 years.
Wow.
Okay. We'll have Michelle on next to verify that story. She'll
Michelle, come
verify
on
that
in here.
Michelle's fish lived that long. So this fish, I'm going to say he lived for 2 years. Okay.
Okay.
I have 2 girls and they each have a fish. So we have 2 fish bowls and they're very clean. The water is very clear. And
This is real life or the dream?
real life.
Okay.
And in my dream, it was so filled with dirt that it was almost like you couldn't see water. And the fish was on the top, floating. And then I woke up and I got a little panicked because I don't know how attached people are to their fish, but my youngest daughter has always said that if her fish ever died, she does not want to know. She just wants him buried and then another fish in its place that looks exactly like him.
Because she doesn't want to deal.
We don't deal with feelings the way we should.
No, when you're 11, that's the way you deal with feelings.
And so I decided that's what would happen if her fish ever died. So I had a dream. I woke up yesterday morning after this dream startled me, and I went into where the 2 fish bowls are, which is right on the kitchen counter. Huge fish bowls, and clear as day, you could see to the other side of the house through the fishbowl. Fish swimming, everything fine. And I thought that was a weird dream because I didn't eat anything weird the night before. It wasn't watching a fish story on TV. And I go to work. This is yesterday morning. We had a meeting Monday morning, and the meeting went from 9 to 10 o'clock. I walked up to my office afterwards, and Susie, who is, how do you describe Susie?
No, wait a second. I think you told me about the fish dream. You're like, isn't that crazy? What does that mean? You told me about it first.
Okay, before
and then there was a little pause because then when you went off to your office.
Okay, I told you about this fish dream. I went to my office and I looked at my text, and my dear friend Susie, who had gone over my house that morning, and she texted me, and she said, "You're not going to believe this, but Ocean is dead." And I didn't believe it because I had dreamt that it happened, but that would be the weirdest.
And you checked on the fish in the morning and said it was totally fine.
Happy as can be, as happy as a fish could, that you can tell. And so I said, "You're not going to believe this, Susie, but I had a dream last night that Ocean died, but he was perfectly fine this morning." And she said, "Well, I remember Peanut telling you that she didn't want to know. And so I will bury him right now, and I'll run to the store for you."
She's a good friend.
She's a great, great friend. Well, I need a word to describe Susie. So when I refer to Susie, that they will know what Susie. Susie is Alice.
Yeah. Right. From the Brady
Susie's
Bunch.
Alice.
That's
she's
a good
she's
TV
Alice without
Jill.
the dress.
Yep.
She is Alice.
She has better style than Alice.
She is
for sure.
She's amazing. Susie is Alice. So to protect her innocence, I will call her Alice from now on. So Alice buried Ocean and went to the store and got a new fish. Okay. And this was all happening, and I came to you and I said, "You're not going to believe this, but Ocean died." And then I had to run to a meeting. Okay. And as I was running to a meeting off site, about 15 minutes away, I saw our mail bin there, and I saw a package for me. Do you know this part of the story?
No, you told me this.
I saw a package for me, and I got in the car, and I was in a rush to get there. And when I got there, I opened up this FedEx package, and inside of it were 3 magazines, and they were all the same magazine. Somebody had sent me a copy of the same magazine, and it was titled Miracle Living. Okay. And I thought, I couldn't remember why, what is this magazine? It was a magazine from Christian Broadcasting Network. And I thought somebody must have wanted me to read an article in this magazine. And so I thought, I'll know it when I see it. And so I'm thumbing through it. And all of a sudden on page 4, I believe, I see a picture of me and a fish. That would be weird. I see a picture of me, and it's an article that I had written when I wrote the book, The Kindness Effect, 2 years ago. And they took an excerpt from this article, from the book, and put it as an article in the magazine. And the whole article was about God's timing, but it was a dream that I had had 30 years ago that took 10 years for this dream to come true. But in this article, I was talking about the details about this dream I had. And it was the craziest thing. And I could not understand, why did I dream my fish died? And then it came true. And then as I'm running out the door, I picked up a magazine that I had forgotten that they had asked me about doing that. And that was about a dream I had 30 years ago. And
so what's the significance?
That's why you're on here.
Because I need to know, what's the significance? First of all, do you think there's something to do with the fish, or what do you feel like? Because I always feel like God's trying to tell you something. I think he uses our dreams all the time.
Yes.
So I have very, very vivid dreams, and I remember them the night before, the next day. But I always think there's some sort of significance. So do you have something?
I do. So I asked myself all day yesterday, why would I dream about a fish dying?
Right.
And then he died. To which both my daughters said, "Mom, it's just a fish and a dream. Let it go." And I won't let it go, because it seems so insignificant that I had a dream about a fish that was alive when I woke up the next day, and then hours later it died. It seems very insignificant, but I believe I had what seemed like an insignificant dream that came true, to be aware and alert for another dream that I will have, or a dream that God gave me to remind me that even in the little things, God speaks to us.
That's good.
Be aware of a dream. And I want to hear about a dream that you had, but as a side note, I need to say that when I got home last night and Ocean was buried and we had a brand new fish, we were sitting around in the living room, and Peanut comes and sits next to me, and she's 11 years old, and out of the blue, we were not talking about the fish. She had just come in from the kitchen, and she sat down and she said, "Mom, the weirdest thing is happening. Ocean keeps getting lighter and lighter every day." And it was at that moment I had a choice.
Did you?
I did it. And I said, "Let's go outside to a little patch of grass."
Oh.
Yeah. And then I said, "Susie killed Ocean." Alice did it. This is what I said. Alice did it. And then we just went on to dinner. But I am going to be, and then I had a crazy dream last night. I woke up and I thought, is this the dream? Is this the dream? And within minutes, I forgot the dream because sometimes you remember it and then you forget it. But have you ever had a dream? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
That just feels so real. We've talked about this before, that God speaks to you in your dream. Tell me about a time that you had.
Well, I've had some kind of serious ones, which were a little heavy. And, you just feel like there's some kind of providence behind that they mean something. But one that was really sort of special to just me was I had my son, and he was about 8 months old. And so it was like maybe February. And I had this dream, and then a man, like kind of a dark man, told me in the dream to try to have a baby on June 4th. And I was like, it was like such a short dream, and it was just a teeny tiny little dream, and I woke up and I remembered it really vividly.
Were you trying to get pregnant with
no,
another?
I had
he
an
was just
8 month.
Yeah,
my first child, and I was completely overwhelmed.
Right,
so
you were still sleeping in another room. Yeah.
Yes. So I was thinking, okay, well, that's weird, but it was February, and I completely forgot about it. I just went on with my life, and then it was weird, like right about June, like 1st or 2nd, the dream came right back to my memory, and I was like, oh, I remember that I had this, and it just came all flooding back. I had a dream that some dark shrouded man said, you need to try to have a baby on June 4th. And I was like, well, I mean, you might as well give it a shot, right? I mean, June 4th, I mean, who has dreams like that? So anyway, long story short, without a lot of details added, I definitely got pregnant on June 4th.
Wow.
With my daughter, Annie.
Wow.
And the cool thing about that, which I had a miscarriage before my first child, and I felt like I was really, really stressed during the whole pregnancy with my first child, because you just are just holding on to hoping not to lose the baby. So I not that I loved Sam, but I was stressed the whole time. I didn't enjoy it,
Right.
But so the whole pregnancy with Annie, which was such a gift, was that I just knew God was bigger and in charge of my life, and I didn't feel the stress of, oh, is this going to work out? Because I was like, I settled in that knowledge that he was doing something bigger than me.
Does June 4th hold any other significance for you?
Well, it happens to be my sister and my brother-in-law's anniversary, but other than that,
it's Terry's birthday.
Is it?
Yeah.
Nothing like. There's nothing else, no big milestone on that day, except there's no reason why that date would have dropped into my mind.
What did the man look like in your dream?
It was just like a
figure?
Yeah, like a black figure.
Yeah.
I couldn't see anybody's face. I just felt like this person was telling me try to have a baby. Isn't that crazy?
Wow. Yeah.
So I know God speaks in dreams.
Yes.
And so I'm like, you know what? If you're not sure, err on the side of give it a try.
Yeah. But what is it that you always say about things like that it shouldn't make you...
Oh, no. I say when God speaks, or when someone else is talking to you, it should be something confirming what God's already said to you, not informational, like not the first time you've ever heard that information,
right.
So of course I wanted another baby,
yeah.
but it wasn't on my radar screen yet,
right.
So just that whole dream was it was a gift. Honestly,
yeah.
I thought the whole thing was a gift.
Well, that's amazing that when you look at Annie, you can remember that before she was even conceived,
yep.
that it was given to you. Do you mind if I change your name to Mary or Elizabeth?
That's okay.
Okay.
I have to say one other thing about
please.
that too, which is a little serious too, but then she had a serious kind of sickness when she was 3 years old. It was like a really serious staph infection in her lungs. And the extended gift on that was I knew through that whole really serious illness too, that I was like, look, God brought this kid here to me. This is his thing, and I'm going to just trust that he's going to take care of her all the way through. So it was like
you relaxed
her whole life. Oh, because we're mothers.
Mm-hmm.
It's stressing. It's just part of the game. I'm sorry. So for her, it's just been so easy. It's just really been wonderful.
How can you transfer the way that you felt about Annie and the peace and the relaxing and trusting God through the pregnancy and even her life? How could you have transferred that to Charlie, your next child that you had?
How could I transfer?
How could you have transferred that same, because you were so relaxed because you just felt like that God told you that when to conceive her, you had her.
Mm-hmm.
But how could you didn't feel the same way when you were pregnant with him? You were so fearful then.
With With Sam, I was.
Oh, your first one.
It was Sam I was fearful with, and Charlie was, well.
Charlie, you were smoking cigarettes. You're just like, I don't care.
I'm tired.
God's got me. I don't care.
He's either got me or he doesn't at this point.
That is not an encouragement to everybody to smoke cigarettes.
No.
Well,
no, don't smoke while you're pregnant.
No, don't smoke while you're pregnant.
But with Sam, how could I, I honestly, I needed to live life a little bit and know God's goodness and that he's got me. Yeah. And it really was a one day at a time choice.
Yeah.
That I wasn't mature enough to kind of get there yet.
You had to go through it before you started realizing it. Before Ireland was born, Ireland's my firstborn, when I was in law school, I had a dream of maybe 1.5-year-old baby, 18 months old. And I remember even to this day exactly what that child looked like. Toddler, it was 18 months. I remember curly hair. I remember the cheeks, just everything about this baby. And then shortly after that, I got pregnant. And I remember going through law school, and I had not a fear at all because I had never been pregnant. And so miscarriage to me was not something I should fear because I had never experienced it. So I didn't know. And then and I knew I had this dream, and therefore that this must mean, because God speaks to me in my dreams, this must be confirming that this is what's going to happen to me. This is the way my baby is going to look. And then in the middle of my final exams for my second, I believe it was my second year of law school. It was my third year of law school. I right in the middle of exam, I started to feel something was not right.
At the school while you're literally? At the
school while I was taking the exam, I started to feel like something was not right. And I went to the bathroom, and I realized that I needed to go home because it did not feel normal. And that afternoon I miscarried at home. And I couldn't understand why in the world would I have this dream. It was so specific. And then to have the excitement of being pregnant and the high of it all, only to, while I'm in the middle of a law school exam, to miscarry. And it taught me so much because I had no idea. I didn't empathize with people because I didn't know that I don't know what the percentage is, but it's a high percentage of people, because when it happens to you, then you realize how many people.
Oh my gosh. I don't know why people don't talk about it.
They don't until you then start talking about it, and people say, but I had too.
It's like the grief of, like, even though that you didn't hold a baby in your arms. Yeah. You make so many decisions in your mind. The second you see that you're pregnant, you're like, oh my gosh, and it'll be August when the baby comes. You start boy or girl. It's just a lot of things.
The hope of what the next 70 years are going to look like. And so
the grief of all that is a lot.
Even if you found out the day before that you were pregnant, even if it's within 24 hours, you've already gone to a completely different place. And so then it was maybe a year later when I got pregnant again, and the baby that I had was Ireland, and that baby looked just like the baby was in my dream. Oh, no, and awesome. I have a picture of her when she was that age, like 18 months, and it looked just like the baby that I had in my dream. And the thing is, the second time around, and I had 3 miscarriages altogether, but the second time around, you would think I would fear terribly, and I did. But what you have to remember is that God knows exactly what. He already has it all planned out. And so the dream that he gave me, I took it as, that's just my hope that I was holding on to.
That was coming.
Yeah. So it's a constant battle every day that you're pregnant to not fear. But
I've got a baby dream that correlates into all that. I remember being in a relationship that was not my husband. It was a nice guy, but...
Let's give him a name.
Let's call him Ben.
Okay, Ben.
Anywho, so Ben and I were in a relationship, and I had a dream that there was a baby in the dream, and it was in a little bassinet, and I walked up to the baby. The baby was asleep in the bassinet, and I walked up, and I went like, "Oh, hi, baby!" like
an experience.
And the baby went like that, like the baby like startled and was like started screaming and crying because I scared the baby.
Is this a dream?
This is a dream.
Oh, I thought it was real life.
This is a dream.
Okay.
And I scared the baby, and it startled and was crying and all that stuff. And so I really feel like I prayed about it after I woke up from that dream because it was so vivid. I feel like God was telling me like the dream was for me to be married. Like I wanted to get married.
Yeah.
And that baby represented that thing that I was dreaming and hoping for, but I was with the wrong guy and I was forcing it, like kind of forcing this relationship or this thing, and I was sort of ruining it. I mean, like, I know it was, of course, it takes two. But my point is that it wasn't the right time for that dream to come around. And so that baby dream, I think, signifies a dream in your, like a baby signifies a dream you have in your heart.
Yeah. Oh, right.
You know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
So
something that you want to give birth to.
Yes. Yeah. So that's exactly, that's a way better way to say it. Something you birthing like in the spirit is that baby.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what I think the baby also signifies is the dream.
Yeah. Well, do you remember my biggest baby dream that I ever had? It was this year.
Yeah.
And I okay.
That was a several day ordeal of a dream, I think.
I had a dream. I don't even know if I should say it. I won't say it.
This is a lot.
All right, it's a lot.
Maybe just give like the Reader's Digest version of this dream.
Okay. I had a dream. No, I was going to say who I had a dream that I was pregnant with.
Okay.
I don't think I should even say that. Okay. I dreamt I was pregnant with you, the listener. and here we are. Here we are.
The dream has been birthed.
The dream has been birthed. But there's a lot that we could talk about dreams. And there are some people who say they never dream. I have two people in my family.
Really?
Terry and Ireland say they never dream. And they don't ever, even if they dream, they don't remember their dreams. And I cannot tell you the last time Terry has ever told me that he had a dream. So what I would say to those of you who don't dream but would like to dream, maybe ask God to help you to remember your dreams, because I do believe that somewhere inside of us there's all of us have a dream, but I think that God can speak to us through our dreams as we sleep.
Yeah, if you're a dreamer, ask God what he's trying to tell you through that dream, because I think it's something.
Yeah, that's all. I liked this.
That was great.
Yeah.
This is so serious. We're
It was
usually so
very
funny.
Listen, you should preach at your church. Kelly's the pastor's
pray
wife,
about it.
and she doesn't ever preach up there, but I think she should. Thank you for watching and listening today. Just remember that you cannot find your own voice by following someone else's formula. You may not know as you begin, but you will come to know as you do. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll see you tomorrow.